We're following some breaking news overnight out of Oklahoma City, where a mass shooting sent at least 10 people to the hospital.
Yeah, police say it all unfolded outside of Edmond there at Arcadia Lake. Gunfire broke out just after 9 p.m. during a large gathering. No suspects in custody this morning. And police say there is no ongoing threat.
Police are asking anyone with information to come forward and they say there could be more hospitalizations because some people may have driven themselves to the hospital.
Well, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has called lawmakers back to the Capitol for a special session today.
They'll focus on tax cuts. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach joins us now with a preview. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Joe. Well, following the conclusion of the fiscal session, the governor says this session will focus primarily on cutting taxes. Her proposals are lowering the state's top individual income tax rate to 3.7% effective January 1st, 2026. It would also amend the top corporate tax rate for domestic and foreign corporations to 4.1% beginning January 1st, 2027. During the fiscal session, lawmakers approved Arkansas's revenue stabilization law, outlining a proposed $6.7 billion budget for the next fiscal year. That spending plan increases state funding by more than $200 million and includes major investments in educational freedom accounts, Arkansas State Police pay, and higher education. Lawmakers also outlined how surplus funds would be distributed, with significant allocations going toward Medicaid sustainability, expanded school choice programs, and economic development efforts in West Memphis. The House also approved changes to school funding for newly formed isolated districts, ensuring they receive most of the prior districts per student funding during their transition. For homeowners, legislators advanced a proposal to increase the homestead property tax credit from $600 to $675. And lawmakers selected House Speaker Brian Evans to serve another term, leading the chamber in the next General Assembly. Today's special session begins at 3 p.m. Arkansans can follow legislative proceedings live or watch archived meetings online through the Arkansas House website. Claire Everbach, 5 News.
Claire, thank you. We're following updates of a major chemical spill in Sebastian County.
Yeah, this happened on Saturday, where investigators say about 125,000 gallons of sulfuric acid spilled from a CNS chemical storage tank, spreading there onto Highway 271. Hazmat teams say they contained the leak. The fire department saying that crews responded with neutralization efforts to reduce any potential hazards.
External contractors specializing in containment and environmental cleanup responded to collect, remove, and dispose of the material.
Yeah, they say they're doing this morning continued air monitoring. And a Barling man has been arrested for murder and attempted murder.
Over the weekend, police arrested 29-year-old Derek Lawrence Gwynn in connection to a shooting that happened on Holly Street Saturday night. Investigators say an adult male was pronounced dead, while one juvenile male suffered serious injuries but is expected to survive.
Gwynn is behind bars now on a $500,000 bond.
Well, 3 people have died after a suspected hantavirus outbreak on board a cruise ship in the Atlantic.
The World Health Organization says one case has been confirmed, others under investigation. South African health officials say 2 patients have been treated there in the area, including one in ICU, but they say that there's no need for the public to panic.
Doctors say they're now looking into possible ways the infections may have been contracted.
There's only really one of 2 possible ways this could have happened. Number one is something on the ship could have been infected. Remember, with typically it would be rat or mice feces or urine that would have become airborne.
The ship was carrying about 150 passengers on a route from Argentina toward the Canary Islands with the multiple South Atlantic stops. In other news, President Trump says the U.S. will launch an effort today to guide stranded ships from the Strait of Hormuz. In a social media post Sunday, the president saying, quote, neutral and innocent countries have been affected by the Iran war.
He wrote, quote, we have told these countries that we'll guide their ships safely out of these restricted waterways so they can be freely and able to get on with their business. Over the weekend, the president was asked whether he might restart military strikes on Iran.
If they misbehave, if they do something bad, but right now, we'll see.
Hi, good morning, Margaret.
On Face the Nation, Colorado Democratic Congressman Jason Crow spoke on if the U.S. can end the conflict without clearing the Strait of Hormuz.
We're blockading their blockade. I think the real question that we should all be asking is, does America really want to continue to have conflict in the Middle East for another 5, 10, 20 years?
Well, according to Iran's state media, the country's latest proposal calls for issues between Tehran and the U.S. to be resolved within 30 days and aims to end the war rather than to extend the ceasefire. The conflict, now in its third month, has contributed to those rising gas prices.
In other news, thousands of travelers were stranded over the weekend after the abrupt shutdown of Spirit Airlines. Bradley Blackburn has more on why the end of Spirit could affect passengers everywhere.
Spirit's bright yellow planes hit the brakes for good over the weekend. After a $500 million federal bailout fell through, the airline ran out of cash and canceled all future flights effective immediately.
Dang. Now what?
Passengers like this man had to scramble to find a new way home.
I don't fly very often, so this is not something that I was expecting to run into.
Spirit also ended its customer service. Ticket counters were abandoned. In Texas, lost luggage got stuck because there were no employees to help.
I've gone down to their office and it's locked up and there's nobody that we could talk to.
Spirit Airlines CEO blamed the sudden and sustained rise in fuel prices in recent weeks for Spirit's sudden closure. Nationwide, airlines expect to pay $24 billion more this year in fuel costs due to the war with Iran.
We were prepared to make sure that United could step in.
United Airlines is just one of the carriers stepping up to help, now offering capped fares for Spirit flyers who need to rebook plans in the next 2 weeks. But long-term, there's concern the shutdown of the discount carrier could push ticket prices higher.
Prices are going to spike on every airline, so it's going to be a very difficult, challenge now for the passengers and the aviation industry.
Spirit's closure also means about 17,000 employees are now out of work. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.